And guess what?
What?
Soundboard is back, baby.
Hey.
Soundboard is back. Welcome to the TFW podcast, episode 47. I didn't do the intro until the outro last podcast, so I'm going to get it right this time. I am your host, Matt. I'm joined by the usual suspects. Eshaun is on the road doing the big right now, but he is still here. Rhodesia is here as well. As I said, it is episode 47. I do want to shout out everyone that listens to the podcast. Appreciate you guys' love, interaction on Twitter. I asked you guys to leave us some 5-star reviews on the last podcast, and I'll be damned you guys did it for us. Thank you for that. Spotify now has reviews. We were sitting at, I think, at 0 for like the last 7 months, and we are not at 0 anymore. We got a couple more on Apple Podcasts. So, hey, we appreciate the love. But as you guys know, I always try to shout you guys out. Anybody that's ever interacted with us via YouTube, via Twitter, of course, that listen to the podcast, we appreciate you guys. Love you guys for sure. Let's get right to it. Where do you guys want to start? Because I am an open book today. I kind of just, wherever y'all want to go is where we'll go.
We're on the road to SummerSlam. Think we should start there?
Hey, first, I want to start out and talk about, I want to talk about my support system. My good friends, Matt and Rhodesia. I told you I need to get in better health. I was going on a Big Daddy 10-pound challenge, and I needed some accountability buddies. And you guys haven't asked me about my diet and these 10 pounds in 2-3 weeks. Oh, see, this is support staff.
Well, first off, you mentioned it last week.
He said
it's only been
1
week. It's
he
only
don't
been
even
1
know
week.
when he started.
It was 2 shows ago.
No,
it's
1 week
2
shows ago, which means 1 week ago. You
So
don't even know what your own stupid ass challenge is. That is insane. And you want us to care. All right, man. Tell us about your I'm little, I'm trying to get littler challenge.
No.
Where you at?
No. So
He said no. He said no. We're not privileged to it.
So I gotta change the parameters of this thing because I actually thought about a good 175 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was actually like 168.
I could have told you that, sir.
And so I got down to 163. Right. So
in a week, that's scary.
Yeah. So so Big Daddy wasn't overweight. I just out of shape. Right. So now I'm on a Big Daddy get in shape diet. So I'm going to reformat this thing. We're going to bring it back and we're going to get right for the, rest of the year. So I just want to get updates to, my real friends and family of the podcast. I was concerned about my physical health, but we get it. You see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I got to deal with.
Oh, nuts.
Well,
I love
congrats,
you,
man. Congrats, you're not as big as you thought you were.
Because hey, I was getting some cakes, man. I ain't talking about Hostess. So I was getting some cakes.
What does that mean?
I was dragging some wagon, you understand? And I need to get that under control. So
somebody that calls themselves Big Daddy is talking about now they was getting ass? And talking about their own ass?
Hey, somebody called me Thick Daddy the other day. Somebody called me Thick Daddy the other day. Yeah.
Probably the same person. Probably the same person that gave you the nickname of Big Daddy. Probably so.
This is your wrestling podcast, right? Let's go.
Let's move on. You are incriminating yourself every single time you speak. So Rhodesia says she wants to talk about SummerSlam. I have not seen. I know there was like a rumor card that was out there a week ago or so. I tried not to have everything spoiled for me, so I still haven't seen what these matches are. I'm going to assume, just by watching Raw and SmackDown, we can probably figure out what these rumored matches are. Which one of you have seen it or has it in front of you so we can talk about it?
So I got it up here, guys. Yes, I sent it an article to Matt. I want to say a couple weeks ago. Look, my time. I have no concept of time, so I don't know when I sent you this article. It's like I didn't know it was 2 weeks or 1 week for the Big Daddy Challenge. But But here's the thing, as fans, I get it. You know, Matt didn't want to spoil this stuff, but like this is stuff we can kind of assume as we're watching the show, and it's just rumors, right? It's just kind of cool to speculate and talk about. But as we're starting to watch these shows and things are unveiling, it seems like these might be pretty accurate, or they might be good guesstimates. But we got the main event for SummerSlam. Now, this is rumor as of this point, right? We don't know, and this is just speculation. But we got the Universal Undisputed Champion Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. All right, now it looks like
sunrise there.
That looks like that might be happening as what we're seeing. We're definitely getting this next match. We got Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. All right? Kind of seemed like that might have been a no-brainer. Now, here's the one that we talked about a couple weeks ago. Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. Reports are indicating that Rousey's finishing up WWE, and this is the match that she wants to have on her way out. So we'll see. Another championship match. Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. Look like that's the path they're going down.
Yep.
Another match that look like we're heading to is Logan Paul versus Ricochet.
Okay.
And boy, did Logan Paul give him some verbal joust on Raw. We got the WWE Women's Championship, Asuka. Now, this is one we'll have to see, right? It might be accurate, but this is Asuka versus Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair. So we got a triple threat.
That makes sense.
For the Women's Championship, right?
Yeah.
Okay. They're all in the mix, so it kind of does make sense.
So something's gonna have to happen funky this week on SmackDown because
it's been funky.
Yeah, for it to be a triple threat.
Man, there's a song that was going in my head. You said that. It was like, they went, funky. Cars ride by in my booming system. I think I'm saying it wrong. You know what I'm talking about? Matt, you
I was thinking about the hustle.
I thought you were talking about everybody clap your hands.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
No, I think it was LL Cool J.
Yeah, clap your hands.
All right.
Oh, man. He's actually coming to concert, too.
Hey.
Shout out to LL still hitting the road.
And last rumored match, we got Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch.
Oh, cool. All right. So then
sense.
Everything that is rumored, we've kind of see it started to play out on TV over the last week and a half. All right. So we know Roman and Jay. We talked about that already last pod. The triple threat women's match. What's y'all thoughts on that? I guess that's a simple way to protect Asuka so she doesn't have to lose the title yet.
And that would make sense because something happened where Bianca loses this Friday, and
due to Charlotte's interference.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So now the move is a triple threat. I could see that. But real quick, I'm not sure. Does Rhea have a match? I know they had that issue last night with Raquel. And
I was surprised. No, they're going back to it. So when Raquel and Liv won the titles, I'm like, all right, well, that doesn't make sense now for that match at SummerSlam. They went right back to it. So it looks like we are going to get Raquel and Rhea at SummerSlam.
Yep.
Which, man, all those matches you named, those are some pretty damn good matches. There's not one match on there that I'm like, I don't care too much to see that. Those are some pretty damn good matches. What was the third match you said?
Oh, let me pull it back up here.
Did you have Roman J? You had Gunther, Drew.
We had Roman J, Cody and Brock, Ronda and Shayna.
Okay.
Gunther, Drew. Paul versus Ricochet. Triple threat.
Okay.
Rhea, Raquel, and then Trish and Becky.
So then we know at least two of those matches are going to have some type of stipulation. I think we get some type of stipulation with Ronda. And
loser leaves town.
I was thinking about that. Maybe this place isn't big enough for both of us, or maybe they do something like the Lions Den match or the Fight Pit that NXT did. I think we've seen it once on the main roster with Seth and Riddle. So that would be kind of cool to see that. So that's going to be a stipulation.
Well, we'll have another stipulation too.
With Cody and Brock?
With Cody and Brock and
the rubber match?
The rubber band match.
Rhodesia was like, oh, that's pretty cool. What kind of match is that?
I think it was like a rubber strap. And so then I'm like, I saw your Twitter little comment, like, when everybody keep you thinking this is a stipulation, I'm like, let me try to look on Wikipedia real quick.
For anyone that does not know what a rubber match is, okay, that is used in all the sports. and that is the final match or the final connection of what if teams, boxing, whatever it is. Typically, it's 1-1. So somebody won the first one, other team or person won the second one. Now you got the rubber match, which is the third one. It's kind of the blow off. So,
but again, that doesn't even make any logical sense. Okay, so rubber and 3 doesn't even go together. But whatever. Like I said, I was ignorant yesterday, but then I went on the internet and trust the old Google.
You did your
Wikipedia
Googles.
gave me. Yes, sure did.
You sure did. I'm so
myself.
proud of you for that. Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, from what we've seen, that's everything that was rumored. To your point, we know we're getting Rhea and somebody. We got to get... What else? What else is missing? That we know, like, just watching the last week and a half of TV, we should be getting. KO and Sammy's got to be on SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Right?
But see, there's the only people I would see. I would have thought Imperium, but there was some dissension in Imperium. So
but we've seen that. We've seen that match too, though.
But
already.
we don't have.
We have seen it already.
We don't have Judgment Day with a match yet. So, and they were heavily featured on Raw, so they're definitely kind of getting a push, right? That faction those guys in there. So,
yeah. So the good thing is, we look like we got another hell of a PLE coming up. Because those 6 or 7 matches look great, and I'm sure they'll add, they're going to have to add at least 1 or 2 more matches to that show.
Oh, yeah.
And they're about to have, the 13th straight super strong PLE since Triple H is taking over creative. Maybe we'll talk next week, too. This is the 1-year anniversary of Triple H taking over head of creative already.
Time flies by when you're having fun. I'll tell you that much.
Damn right. So maybe we'll talk next week about kind of, hey, what do we think the biggest adjustments have been? Anything we want to see more from WWE? That could be a good topic for next week. One thing I did want to bring up, I'm sure you guys saw it too. Yesterday, or could have been today, news broke that Bray Wyatt still is not cleared to return. So thoughts and prayers to Bray. If he's got, who knows, whatever it is, it's got to be pretty big. If it's mental or if it's physical, for him still not to be clear to return. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later if he wants to return. I'm assuming he does. So that was something I was like, wow, okay. But then Undertaker came out and had an interview, and he talked about he would like to see Bray Wyatt go back to the original character. He said they need to bring back Bray's character to the original character. Get away from... They've kind of got themselves booked into a situation where it's kind of difficult for him to have matches. I think the original Wyatt family Bray, that's the money. Now, Bray did say after Brody died that Wyatt family gimmick is gone forever because if Brody's not here, he can't do it. Be interesting to see if they try to go back to that. I think Taker's spot on with this one. We know how lackluster the Fiend run was, especially when you talk about the matches. You can't beat him. Nobody was better off after feuding with him than before.
And that's so unfortunate. That part is so unfortunate because I absolutely love the Fiend. Loved it. It was like another version of the Demon for me. And I loved it. But when you go back and look at it, like you said, no one came out ahead after that. No one was progressed after that.
When you're squashing everybody, it's kind of you can't beat him because you know what I mean? You can't beat him. So that's where that comes from. And then whatever the original plan was for this run of Bray fell flat. And that was before he had to leave, before Mania. Months ago, we talked about on the pod that
to you. Hey, I didn't think it was that. I wasn't that critical on it. I actually liked it.
No, the interest was great and all that. And the story they were trying to tell with Uncle Howdy was cool until it wasn't. And then we had the, blackout match or whatever it was called, the Mountain Dew match at Royal Rumble.
Pitch Black. Yep.
That did nothing for LA Knight. Of course, it did nothing for Bray, and then that's it. So that whatever that character was also didn't really help. I would love to see him go back to the original Bray Wyatt character. And if you need to bring the Fiend back or whatever that was going to be on his last run for special attractions, to your point, Rhodesia, like the Demon Finn Balor comes out, once a year or once every couple years, cool. That works. But hopefully they figure something out. And hopefully we see him soon because he is missed on WWE TV.
And it's pretty much how I feel too about that. Whenever he's able to get back I want him back. I'll take him as the Fiend. I'll take him as the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt. I hope that if he was truly adamant about not bringing back the Wyatt family because of Brody, then I would hope they can honor it. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta take care of business. So, but I'm here for whatever version of Bray Wyatt that comes back.
Who
if
do we
he
see
decides
back?
to come back?
Who do we see back first, Bray Wyatt or Randy Orton?
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Bray,
either of them.
right?
Well, no, Randy Orton has a back problem.
Yeah, so. He has a back problem. I don't know what's wrong with Bray. I mean, he's had an undisclosed injury, I think, before he left the company, the first time he left the company. So, I mean, I hope he's well. But yeah, I'm really intrigued with the original conversation about Bray. I like the Fiend. I even like the Funhouse Bray. I thought
I like Funhouse too. Yeah.
I like the whole thing, but I do understand that at the end of the day, that character was led to the Fiend character, which is unbeatable. He's kind of was an unbeatable monster beast, and I agree with you guys. I think that I would love to see the original Bray. I thought there was so much meat on the bone left from that character. I'm not sure why that character didn't get pushed to the moon at the time. Enjoyed him. I enjoyed the Fiend. I'm pretty sure Bray doesn't want to copy Mick Foley completely with he had the three faces of Foley or whatever it was. Yep. I mean, I would love that this all be mental psycho break for Bray, and he has these multiple personalities, and they come out in different times and different feuds, etc. I thought that'd be really cool. I wasn't as down on whatever Bray Wyatt character he came back as just recently, much like Rhodesia. It was getting weird, but hopefully I was thinking that maybe they can creatively transition the character to something else. We can kind of see what the Uncle Howdy character was going to bring, what it was going to do. So I was open for that, but I certainly would be open for the original Bray character coming back and the multiple personalities coming out when need be.
You mentioned the multiple personalities, and unfortunately, that happened in wrestling right before I became a fan and watched it. Keep in mind, too, I also didn't have cable when I was younger, so I only got to see SmackDown on UPN, the United. What was it? We used to be called
United Plantation Network.
Oh shit! I probably shouldn't say that because we have other people listening on the show.
Shit, we black. We can say it.
Real talk. That channel was for us.
Sure was.
For sure.
So I only got on SmackDown. That's the reason why I started watching when I watched it, because it came on SmackDown. I digress, but we talk about different gimmicks, and y'all see what K Nash did again to kind of segue to he doubled down on LA Knight again, talking about not being original and all this. Like, what y'all thoughts on that?
I don't know why Nash got the haterade button, whatever. So let me pull this up real quick because I saw it earlier today, and of course I put my tweet out about it. So he says, here it is. It says here in the follow-up podcast, Nash continues to criticize Knight. So if you guys don't know by some chance, last week on this podcast, he basically came out and said that LA Knight is nothing more than just a Rock and Stone Cold ripoff. Okay. So I guess he doubled down on it today. He said there's so many people who agree that LA Knight is doing the Rock, Steve Austin. I mean, the guy's been in the business for like 10 years. Why didn't he get over anywhere else? If you're not over in 3 years, it's probably just not going to happen. I was like, okay, this is a rib, right? And then it's not. It's just what the character is. So I get hot and I'm like, you got to be kidding me, right? But which they is the fans on social media, said I buried the guy. I didn't say he couldn't work. I never seen him in the ring. I just said the character wasn't very original. I'm not going to apologize. I think it's a blatant ripoff, but I didn't mean any harm.
But he hadn't seen him in the ring. Okay. I'll be quiet on that part because, again, he's a founding father of this thing we call wrestling, so I'm not going to bash him.
Who is?
Nash. I'm just saying
hell he is.
He's okay. What I'm saying is
founding father.
I'm not going to say founding father.
That was
I'm
a big
saying
ass.
What the hell are you talking about? Founding father.
He came as he helped pave the road for people after him. So we have to give props to the OGs.
That's every wrestler.
We have to. And that's true.
Every wrestler.
That's true. But what I'm saying is you can't sit up here and have such a poignant, such a powerful feeling about him, let it be known, and you haven't even watched him wrestle. Like, dude, shut up.
He don't care
My
about
man
his
said-
in-work. His in-ring work. You seen him wrestle? He don't care about that in-ring work.
My man said,
Touche,
if
touche.
you ain't got over in 3 years, it's probably not going to happen for you.
3 years?
Hey, Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
We said it last week, man. You're a fellow Detroit guy. We love you. I told you last week, shut the fuck up forever.
Oh.
You didn't listen. You put the other foot in your mouth. I remember, this is capital E, capital Y, capital E. I remember Vinny Vegas from WCW.
Who?
Trash.
Who is that?
Vinny Vegas is one of his characters. hey,
Hey, E.
what you do? You need to go back further back than that. Let's talk about Oz.
I remember Oz. Trash. He comes to WWF, becomes Diesel, then he gets over.
Maybe that's
Let's
what
not-
he meant. Maybe he meant 3 years
no,
WWE.
let's not play.
Main
Let's not
roster.
play that game. And LA Knight was over. LA Knight damn near had gold in every promotion he was in. So let's not say that either. I don't know where he's coming from with this. I said it last week. Maybe it's just for content.
It gotta
At the
be.
end, at the end, he kind of said like, "Hey, I haven't seen him. No, no disrespect, but it's not original." But to say like, if you ain't get over in 3 years, then it's not going to happen. Stone Cold as the ringmaster. It wasn't 3 years, but that didn't work out. Rocky Maivia didn't work out. Hulk Hogan before he became Hulk Hogan didn't work out. Do we want to go to Mean Mark?
Calloway,
before he was Undertaker?
Okay,
Do
yeah.
we want to go to Dr. Isam Yankum, DDS, before he
that?
became Kane? Like, everybody down the line has not worked out until they have worked out.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just thought that was interesting when you said, like, I was just trying to draw parallels here about the three faces of Mankind or McFoley. And like, again, everybody takes something from everybody. That's just how it is. And then for you to double down that, and then now what you just said, that he didn't even watch one of his wrestling matches, like, come on, dude. Like, you burying your own company you helped build. So maybe how about that? He was a builder. I don't want to call him a founding father because that is such that is definitely not. That is definitely not what I wanted to say.
Yeah,
big props.
But did you think wrestling started at the like apex of NWO or something? Like,
yeah, a little bit. Like, was that 97? Was it 97?
For her it did though, right? For her it did though. Hey, you know, like, hey, Kevin Nash is wrong, right? And he know he wrong. Hey, but I respect that he got 10 toes down, right? He's standing on it.
He sure did.
He doubled down like big time.
10 toes down. I respect. Hey, brother, respect, man.
Hey, you know what's funny? If we think that's bad, wait till what he tells us next week. He gonna say something more outlandish than this next week. He's got to keep this going.
Yeah.
It was something I was about to ask you guys. Oh, did you see Rhodesia? I know you didn't see it because you didn't say anything about it. E, did you see the 3-minute video of LA Knight interaction with Hit Row from SmackDown? It didn't air, so I don't know. It must look like it happened during the commercial.
Hit Row was in it. It's not gonna air.
Ooh.
Touche. They got like, I think 2 or 3 million views already on social media from it.
Wait, is it from the past? Was it recent?
No, it's from this past SmackDown. Yep, from this past SmackDown.
Actually, I think this is the second time they've done something with them. I did see something a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
Check it out. Yep, go check it out. It's on WWE's Twitter. I don't think it's on their YouTube. I tried to find it on YouTube, but I couldn't find it. When I saw it on Sunday, it was up to like 2.2 million views, I think it was. LA Knight's hot, man. Like,
hey, can I ask you a question? I think I meant to ask you guys last week, but where is he? Where's LA Knight?
Who?
Where's LA Knight?
Well, I am hoping that we get.
Did we see him last week?
We saw him last week. We didn't see him this past week. I'm hoping that this is leading to him and Austin Theory at SummerSlam. He's white hot. And I want to wait to have a discussion on how hot he is in a couple weeks. If you guys remember, about a month ago, I came on here and asked you guys, is LA Knight really over? Remember? I'm like, hey, because we haven't really seen a lot of matches on him, is he really over? You guys both said, yep, he's getting reaction. Now his reactions are 2 times as strong as it was when we had that conversation. In a couple weeks, when we see what he's doing at SummerSlam, because they have to use him at SummerSlam, let's have a discussion on where he is in regards to the hottest wrestlers. I think you can make an argument he is the hottest wrestler on WWE TV right now.
You up there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so topic question that I sent to you guys. I thought would be a fun conversation. Don't know you guys' answers. We haven't talked about it. But we got a lot to be happy for with wrestling right now. We also got some things that we probably don't like either. So, topic, what do you love about pro wrestling right now? And what do you hate about pro wrestling right now? Let's take, of course, the love first. Rhodesia, what do you love about pro wrestling currently?
Outside of the fact that there's just so much, and I'm going to say good wrestling out there to watch. I look at it like no matter what type of wrestling you're into, there is a show for you. So whether it's an AEW Dynamite Collision or whether it's WWE SmackDown Raw or even Impact, I mean, there's just so much great wrestling out there. And there's some not good wrestling, but there's a lot of good wrestling out there. So whatever cup of tea that you like to drink, there's something out there for you. And it's probably a weekly episodic show out there for you. That's what I love about wrestling.
Okay.
I'm on the same side with Rhodesia. I love in the past, I've loved the variety of wrestling. Like I said, back in the day, like if you go back into the 80s and even the early 90s of wrestling, there was so much variety of wrestling. There was so many great promotions that were running at the same time. Of course, WWF was always the big dog, but you had these really well-run promotions and even territories. I think they were dying out at the time, but you had these places where you could see these guys work and they're doing phenomenal work, and it was different all across the board. You would watch GWF and it was different than USW. World Class was different than AWA. And of course, it was different than AWA and WWE. And it just was great to have all this cool wrestling. I mean, and we're getting back to that because we got to a certain point in time when WCW folded. We had TNA kind of creep back up, but WWE had just turned like a monopoly. And so if you were a wrestling fan, mostly of what you're going to watch is going to be WWF or WWE. Right now, we have that variety back. We got AEW. We got two different versions of AEW almost, right? We got,
yep.
Feels like
Raw.
It.
We got SmackDown. And I know we kind of, it's the brand split is loosey-goosey. But for the most part, you can turn those shows on and see a different cast of characters on a weekly basis, right? Then you have the Impact. You got, all kinds of different wrestling you can kind of tune in. I love that. And as Rhodesia said, most of it is very, very good. So I love that.
For any of our listeners that watch AEW, leave me a message on Twitter at that's FNW. I saw some debate conversation a few days ago about Collision does not feel different than Dynamite. And I just feel like that's impossible to feel that way if you're actually watching this show. But if anybody feels that way, please leave us a message so we can talk about it either on Twitter or on the podcast if that's how you feel. Because I would love to know your guys' thoughts on if it truly does feel different to you or if it doesn't. Because to me, it feels completely different. We talked about that last week. I love both of your guys' answers. For me, it's just how fun wrestling is right now. Wrestling is super fun. And a lot of times we can allow the negativity of either social media or other wrestling fans to maybe blind us or leave a bad taste in our mouths on what we're watching.
Yep.
Either by happenstance or what. But damn, it's fun right now to be a wrestling fan. And typically, whatever that main promotion is, how they go is how the rest of everything else goes. Outside of what AEW was doing a couple years ago, AEW was on fire. They could not do anything wrong.
Right.
Week in and week out for Dynamite. Best show to me on TV by far was Dynamite a couple years ago. But now that WWE is back, clicking really almost on all cylinders, it's just fun. It's fun to watch WWE now. It's fun to not have to have our intelligence, taken for granted every single week because
all the time.
Because either one, we're seeing numerous rematches, and we're not talking about the rematches that just happened, or we're seeing ridiculous angles that it's just like, I would be ashamed to tell somebody to watch this who's not a wrestling fan. We haven't had that in over a year. And then you look at AEW, to your point, with Collision now starting, we have so much fantastic, entertaining, high-quality wrestling to watch. You know, the independents are always there. If you ever want to go and just watch and have a good time, you can find a local independent in your area, hopefully. Go to a show and you will be entertained. But to see the high quality that we get on TV every single week, it's fantastic. So that's probably for me what I love right now most about pro wrestling, just how fun and good wrestling is. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. So what about the other side? What do you guys hate right now about pro wrestling?
Okay, so besides the fact that there is the internet wrestling community that just be so finicky and all that, right?
Well, I had that down and I had another one down because that's not
Okay,
Because if I stayed off social media, then I wouldn't see that.
Right. And that's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just be more specific to actual pro wrestling, to the question that you asked me. I dislike so very much the unnecessary dangerous spots. Like y'all know I'm a spot girl. I love the fast move. But there are just some dangerous spots that why are we still doing this? And why are we doing this every single week? Like, so to me right now, that is what I dislike about the wrestling of pro wrestling is these moves. You don't have to do that. You don't really literally have to put your life on the line on all these moves.
Okay, real quick, let me follow up, E, before you go. So do you hate it because you're worried about the health of the wrestler, or do you hate it because it is doing something to the enjoyment of the product for you?
It's both. The latter is a byproduct of my initial feelings. I remember watching something on something. I think it was on when the network first came out, the WWE network, and it was about Mick Foley and how Mick Foley said it would take him like 2 hours every morning just to get out of bed because of how bad his body is. Like, I don't want to see that to people who are in their 40s and 50s when they retire from wrestling. I care about these people. I don't know them personally, but they've given me so much joy and love and excitement over all these years. I don't want to imagine for my entertainment, you're going to do something so dangerous week after week after week that now when you're 45 and you're retired, you can't get out of bed for 2 hours. That's unnecessary. Because guess what? I'm quite sure that you can find another way to entertain me just as much instead of doing a risk life daring stunt.
You know, the bad thing about some of those spots is that, and we've seen a lot on AEW TV, that there are these dangerous spots that don't mean anything like 5 minutes later. Sometimes not 5 minutes. Sometimes 2 minutes later, right? Because it's another spot that, you know, I'm going to forget about that thing you just did, that thing that you just risked injury. I forgot you did it. 6 minutes later, right? So that makes it difficult to deal with.
And I think, like, for me, I don't worry about the safety of the performers because I trust they know what they're doing. They're professionals.
Sure.
Typically, whenever you see somebody who has, God forbid, been paralyzed in the ring or like significantly hurt, really wasn't that much of a crazy move.
It's a fluke. Yeah, fluke.
You know, like all the moves are crazy. You can get paralyzed from a suplex, right? You know, you hit the wrong way. A clothesline takes you out of here. Hell, we saw what Sting took the powerbomb buckle move and couldn't feel his legs afterwards. And that's a pretty safe move to take. Safe in the context of you're professional, you know how to take it.
Right.
The reason why I get so irritated with that is because those moves that they're taking, what's next? And this is the old wrestling fan talking. When we were kids, a DDT was a finish. A super kick was a finish. A leg drop was a finish. A power slam was a finish.
Power
driver was a finish. And if you look at finishes now aren't too dangerous. Finishes are pretty, hey, everybody can take it. We know how to do it. Those are cool. It's the moves from the beginning of the bell to the end of the bell, up to that point is what it is. And when we see these ridiculous moves, tombstones out on the concrete, 450s through 4 tables, and then 90 seconds later, if you would have missed that move, you would have had no idea that happened because they're up and running around like nothing happened. Those moves hurt.
Or a power bomb on the apron.
some of this stuff, the match should be over when this move
Yeah.
happens. Sell the physicality and the danger of that. Because if we're not selling that now, as fans, you're going to get conditioned to nothing hurts. And if nothing hurts in wrestling, that is a very slippery slope because a lot of things hurt in wrestling.
Yep.
So for me, that's what it is. It's kind of like putting the genie back in the bottle. I know we can't go back to, hey, one super kick is a finish. Super kick is safe. I'm just using that as just, one of the moves. But it gets to a point where you're like, damn, man, can we please like figure out how we can pull back a little bit? And how I was watching, what was I watching over the last few days? We've had so much good wrestling. It was a match, and it was numerous false finishes.
It was had a collision.
2 counts. And I'm like, man.
Probably was the FTR match.
If we continue to do this, it could have been that. But maybe something on Raw too. We just watched, we're taping this Tuesday night. We just watched Dragunov and Braun Breaker tear the house down on NXT. They had a few false finishes. Braun hit a nasty ass spear.
What do they call it? Spear?
Jesus, man. And then when you watch like Braun do the spear, that's why like I always hated Edge doing the spear.
You hated that. You hated.
Like, man,
I think you started my hate for Edge. I think that's actually
on,
you
like,
were the person who started it.
You don't have the girth. You're not big enough for a spear to have the same impact that it should be as a finish. But yeah, you just kind of get to a point where it's like, man, we got to pull back a little bit. But that's how I feel. I don't think we'll ever get to that point. But I would love, as WWE did, back when every match was bleeding, they say, all right, guys, we got to pull back a little bit from the blood. I would love for that to happen somewhere with some of these moves. The move heading to commercial cannot be worse than the finish of a match. And a lot of times it is.
Yeah.
And hindsight is 2020. And I remember when this first came out, and I was like, man, forget you old head OGs. I remember when, and it might have been even Randy. It might have been even Randy Orton. He wasn't even OG then, but it was along the lines at that time when Randy Orton was like, I'm not doing those moves. And it was just like a lot of those older wrestlers at the time was like, yeah, you don't have to be doing all these crazy spots. And because again, like you said, where do we go from here? If we're going to all be conditioned for this type of match, and then now we move on 1 year from now, how is that going to look? And I just remember then when that first came out, this probably put me, maybe 7-8 years ago. I'm like, shut up. You just mad because you can't do that move. Actually, I think it was Orton. Orton was talking about maybe the Young Bucks, maybe. And I'm just like, man, forget you, Orton. Like, it's because you can't do them. But now I see it. It's like, no, tell the story better. And I'm not trying to say anybody who do these dangerous spots are lazy producing or lazy in booking. It's probably quite the contrary. But let's rethink how we produce this match. You don't have to do that.
Yep. Yeah. And that wasn't even my answer for what I hate.
Oh.
That wasn't my answer. E, did you give yours? I know you kind of like doubled down on what Rhodesia said. Do you have another one?
Oh, no, actually, I didn't. I was letting you guys go. But, you know what? So sometimes I feel like too much of something and sometimes a bad something. Right.
Okay.
And I feel like right now wrestling is like, it's kind of like that favorite meal that you get every day. Right. Then after a while, it's not really your favorite meal. It's just your meal that you eat every day. Right. And then, you get to Tuesday and it's good. And then a month later on that Tuesday, you're like, dang, I wish I had something else. Right. And I think that we have so much wrestling on right now. I think it's kind of oversaturated because while most of it is really good, it also sometimes when you're seeing so much of it, it starts to make you nitpick on things, right? Because you see it so much and you experience it so much, now you start taking it for granted, right? So now you start looking at things a different way, in a different lens, and you start nitpicking things that you probably wouldn't have, maybe a few weeks ago or a month ago, right? Because it's always in your face and you're always seeing it. I think that's where we're at. Because, look, with AEW, do they need another 2-hour show? I mean, we want to say yeah, right? Because they have so much talent. Right, that doesn't get shown, but doesn't on a Saturday. Like, right, who's watching that show on the Saturday? I think it's just too much, and I think what happens on the average wrestling fan, because there's the super fans. I don't think I'm a super fan because I honestly, if we didn't do these shows, I don't think I would watch all of the shows as I do now. I think I would pick my spots, and there's certain shows I would watch on certain days. But I don't think I will watch all of it. I don't think most fans will. I think this is how fans start becoming quote unquote cynical or tribalistic, right? Because you start picking a side. Okay, this is my show. This is what I'm going to watch. This is what I'm going to stand on, right? And people start doing this weird thing with their minds. We have to justify those decisions, right? This is why I picked this team, and here's why it's better, right? So they have to do those things, and that's how you have these divides in wrestling. I don't know what the right answer is, right? Because I want AEW to get their money. I mean, in a perfect world, I would get, Raw on Monday. I wouldn't get SmackDown on Friday. I get AEW on Tuesday, and then I get Collision on Thursday. I mean, I don't know. Something like this is kind of spaced out during the week where we all can enjoy it. I don't know what the right answer is, but I feel like right now there's a little bit too much in wrestling. And personally, I wouldn't watch all of it. And I don't think that's great for our business where we have fans skipping shows or underappreciating the good entertainment we have.
Got you. For me, I think what I hate the most is whenever you're watching a match and it takes them 30 seconds to set up the next spot and you see them setting up the next spot.
Oh, like the 1 and 2 and 3 and like that kind of stuff. Like if you
we're setting up a spot where we get everybody outside the ring and then we get the person to jump on the top rope and dive on everybody and then everybody is laid out. But when you see it coming, and maybe because timing's off where the person is taking too long on the top rope to jump over, or if it's one of the, crazy lucha matches where we're setting up for 25 seconds of two wrestlers on the top rope to do something on somebody on the wrestling canvas, because it takes you out of your element. It takes you out of the sense of disbelief. And we already know what we're watching is entertainment. There's numerous times where you get lost in it. Right? Where it's not about the chants that you're saying. You are completely enthralled in what you're watching. And when you see something like that, it kind of just takes you out of that moment. And we see that a little bit more than we should right now. So that's probably what I hate outside of negative fans.
But I wonder though if you weren't, but I wondering if you weren't like we'll call us like a super fan. I will call all of us here a super fan. If you were just a kid watching television, you probably don't see that though.
No, and you don't care because they're real life superheroes, right?
So, so you don't care.
But like for me, because what we should be watching is a simulated fight. And yes, we all have decades of watching wrestling. We have decades of experience of what we like, what we think is right, what we know is right, that sometimes we don't see on TV, on all the shows. But like something simple of as a run-in, right? I've always said with run-ins, unless it is the biggest person on the show, and we have not seen that person yet, that you should never hear music on a run-in. Like,
because I'm anticipating it. Yeah, exactly. No, that was actually kind of something. I would like to know the psychology behind the production part of that.
Well, because you hear the music and it gets the pop. So hey, I know this person's coming. But in the totality, in real life of a fight, I'm watching something that is supposed to be real is being presented as a real altercation and fight between these folks. I don't want to be taken out of that because we're setting up a move that's taking forever for us to get to the next spot.
Hey, but you know what, guys? To answer that though, they pulled the curtain back. They let us know that Tony Khan and Vince McMahon are sitting in Gorilla back there. What are they doing back there, right? So I just assumed that Vince McMahon sees someone running past him, like, oh,
you push a button.
Yes, Steve. Here's the music. You're right. Yep. That's what I assumed. But I get you and I understand. I'm there with you. I'm there with you because I feel like those are some of the things that we as wrestling fans, we overlook. We're like, oh, that's just part of the show, right? That's some of the things we're suspending our disbelief, quote unquote, right? But I think those are some of the things that, we got our buddy that's not into wrestling. They're watching it with us. Those are some of the things that they may see and they're like, hey, why are they doing that? Like, why is the dude just standing there waiting for him to land on them, right? Like that's the stuff that people who aren't in the wrestling bubble, who don't get it, they don't like, right? So I I'm with you, but I will say I don't know how you guys feel about it. I feel like over the past couple of years, we saw a lot of that. For me, I saw a lot of it in AEW, and I feel like I don't see as much of it. Or is this at least they're trying to, stay dazed, or they try to not cut the camera over to the setup. And I feel like they're trying to get better in that area, but I totally agree with you though, Matt.
For sure. It was something else I was going to ask you guys. Oh, real quick, before I bring up, which we never talked about it. I got to gloat for like 30 seconds about how I got y'all again on the TFW Forbidden Door card. We never talked about the results on it on here.
Care.
But before I get to that,
I purposely did not bring it up.
Yeah, you shouldn't care.
Next.
You shouldn't care.
Listen, hold on, look. I got like 17%, and I know that 10 of the percent came from my one vote. So
no, hey, look, and you didn't get 17, you got 11.
Damn. I was like,
I told you that card. I told you that card wasn't the best one when you finished up, and you had a couple good moments on that card, but that card was absolutely by far the third worst out of the three of us, and the numbers show that I was accurate on that. But before I get to
the
that,
followers, but if they're fans of the show, then don't forget y'all. But if y'all not fans of the show, then forget y'all.
Before I get to that, I made a comment a few weeks ago that I felt like WWE has tapped into a new audience because these are not the same people who are going to these shows. Raw last night again, another hot crowd. They kind of tailed off a little bit. I think that was more to do with the show than the actual crowd itself. I thought the show didn't sustain what they had in the first hour. That first hour was nuts in a good way. But do you guys think that these are new fans who are going to these shows? They're going on a string now of about probably 2 months of red hot shows. And I'm talking red hot from attendance and from just how vocal these fans are.
I think that fans are finally like, you know what? I've always liked wrestling, but now that wrestling is fun or wrestling is cool to be a part of for whatever reason, if it's Logan Paul or whatever, I think that they're just now coming out and showing their fandom for wrestling out more. Because again, you're not going to get 1 million and 10 million with the impressions on something from one episode of something that comes on every week unless everybody likes it. So I think that this is still the same people who probably have been fans, but now it's a little bit more fun to say I'm a wrestling fan or I'm going to a wrestling show.
I think so. I think that so it's just like back in the day where I didn't tell people I liked anime, right? I thought it was dirty, so I didn't tell people I liked anime, right? But
dirty
now,
like sexy or dirty like what?
Oh no,
like provocative?
It's just nerdy, right? Just nerdy.
Oh,
Not
nerdy.
Like
I thought you said
nerdy.
dirty.
Not dirty. No.
I was like, okay.
I don't know what's going on over there in Chicago, but no, but no, nerdy, right? But now everyone loves anime, right? And it's cool to talk about. It's everywhere. You see it. And I think that people nowadays are more open to expressing their passions in life, whatever they may be. I think we live in a society where we're not as judgmental about the content that we consume. So that's great for us wrestling fans because we've always been kind of like the dirty stepchild, right? Like, oh, you watch that stuff? Oh, I can't believe it. You know, we've gotten that for forever. So it's good to see.
So are you saying, because you kind of took a little like, you were taking it back when Rhodesia thought you said dirty. You watch anime. Eshaun, are you actually going to tell me you've never seen anime porn before?
No, never.
You're missing out, buddy.
So I'm going to be ignorant, and I'm okay with being open about my ignorance. So
you are missing out, buddy.
So when I first heard of anime, I always thought that it was something provocative and on the pornography level until I was like, no, it's just like cartoons. It's like animated stories.
But
like,
it is true. And of course, I don't judge anybody, but anime fans are some of the biggest freaks in the world. They are.
Freaks in a sexual way, not freaks like in a crazy weird way. No, just sexual way.
Yes.
You clear on the word freak.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, as I said, I just wanted to go real quick. We did this a few weeks ago, actually. God. It was back from episode 41. So if you haven't heard it, check it out. We did our own TFW Forbidden Door fantasy where we took WWE wrestlers and AEW wrestlers and did, I think, 6 matches total. And we put the card out on Twitter and asked the fans to vote on what was the best. Rhodesia came in dead last. When I say dead last, like
first off, don't do that.
Dead
we
last.
Don't need that energy right now.
11%.
And 2 votes for 11%, and I was one of those votes. But go ahead.
Damn, Rhodesia, that sucks.
I couldn't even pull anybody to vote for me just because I'm a woman.
11%.
This is bullcrap.
11% is like you didn't even try. You know, like when you look at
let's wrap. Like,
we gotta keep
moving.
When a basketball player,
yeah,
right, and they shoot 11% from the field, you're like, you didn't even try.
They still making millions of dollars.
And the crazy part was you was like, you really had your presentation down. You gave us backstory for every match.
Yeah, I sure did.
11%.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Like I don't really like picking on Rhodesia like that, really. But that was a bad card. That was a bad card. I was disappointed because you did put so much effort into
she
it.
Did,
like,
didn't she? And she said, remember? And she even said, "I'm going last." Like she just knew her shit.
I about to shut the club all the way down. I literally shut the club
down. After I get done with this, we're gonna have to stop the podcast.
It was
because my microphone's too high.
She had no.
So yeah, Rhodesia.
Now, bro.
That was
my turn now.
And and then Eshaun finished with 33%. I had 56%. So Eshaun, valiant effort, my good man. If Rhodesia didn't get the 11%, you could have had 44%, and it would have been a much closer fight.
Yeah, minus your burner accounts, I would have won.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
You guys don't believe
Straight
that.
Up.
So I am still undefeated in anything we've done with polls.
Whatever. We got something else to talk about?
Yeah, so actually before we thank you guys for all voting for me. I appreciate it. You guys know real graps. 100%. Speaking of real graps, I do want to bring up CM Punk is allegedly a fantastic locker room guy. This hit yesterday. Let me pull this up. Well, I don't know why you're laughing.
Oh God. You don't know why I'm laughing.
Yeah, I don't know why you're laughing. The PW Torch actually reported this. It says CM Punk's locker room reputation so far after 4 weeks of Collision. It says Punk is showing good leadership backstage so far at Collision and seems to be taking seriously his role as a locker room leader. Punk has incentive to repair his damaged reputation as a malcontent without a filter or the necessary social skills, whatever. Word from backstage at Collision is that he is taking serious that this is his show. And he's taking pride in putting his stamp on the on-air product and off-air vibe in the locker room. Our sources don't necessarily reflect the reviews and whatever. There's been no such insider digs in his promos since the first week back, alluding to issues he had with the Elite and others in the past. We know that already. So basically, they're just saying that looks like he's on the up and up, and he is a very good locker room leader. So thoughts on that? Actually, before you guys might not even have thoughts on that. I do have a question. I want to follow up from last pod. I brought up about Punk threw his name in the hat and said, "Hey, if you guys need me for blood and guts on either side, I'm down." Word came back saying neither side wanted him.
Sorry. Yeah.
Neither side wanted him.
Yeah.
If you guys have to pick, you have to pick either scenario A or scenario B. Tell me which one you pick and give me the reason why. Scenario A is Punk truly wants to put everything behind him. He wants to squash the beef with the Elite and Kenny, and he is down to do business. That's scenario A. Scenario B is he doesn't really want to be involved in that match, but he knew if he would put his name in the hat, they would turn it down for whatever reason, either because they don't want to work with him or because they want to do what's right for business and say the first time we touch, it needs to be promoted. So he did it just to make the Bucks and or Kenny look bad. That is scenario B. Which scenario are you taking?
To call somebody petty like that, I'm not going to rock with. And that could be the ultimate answer, but I'm going to go with A, just because you brought up this whole thing that he's a locker room leader. However, one, he should be. He has a whole damn show to himself that he can cultivate. But I'm at the end of the day, I'm still going to respect that. And he's a positive light and force in that locker room right now. And for Collision, I'm going to go with A.
Yeah, same. You know, y'all know my personality. I don't assume the negative in people. I assume the positive and I think that he's trying to put his best foot forward. Honestly, I don't think that when Punk came to the company that he was trying to be a malcontent or he was trying to be a negative. I think that he had a passion for the business, and I think he was trying to help a lot of people. But the problem is that a lot of those guys may have not wanted his help, and he may have not have, came at them in a way that they wanted. But I think that ultimately, I think he had good intentions from the very start, and I think that now we saw a full picture about what happened in that press conference. Now, did he handle that properly? Hell no, he didn't, right? We talked about that, and we see that. So he may not have actually come to, I think there might have been an issue in the past about how he dealt with conflict or deals with conflict. But I don't think that from day one he came in there, with a chip on his shoulder that he wanted to do this company hard. I think he wanted to help everyone involved, because we looked at the shows. We see that there's things that were wrong with some of the work. And look, we're not workers, right? We're none of our trained wrestlers, but the eye test doesn't lie. Some of the stuff that happens in some of those matches are ridiculous, and they kind of took you out in the matches. So CM Punk is old school, and him trying to kind of give some of that feel to those matches. I mean, who wouldn't want that advice? But ultimately, just tie it up. I see how he could be a good locker room leader. I think he's probably learned a different communication style. And, of course, the people that are on Collision are people that want to work with him on his show, right?
Right.
So it would make sense, ultimately, that they think he's a good locker room guy.
As Rhodesia said on the last pod, they're all professionals. They all know what to do over there. Last thing before...
Oh, I said something that intelligent?
You did. You
Nice.
did. Last thing before I throw it to you guys and we in the pod, you've been talking the last few weeks kind of about AEWs and the ratings for Collision. Like maybe what is TNT looking for? What's successful, things of that nature. I know Fightful had a report that came out and said that WB is much more interested in where Collision ranks rather than the total number of viewers. Right. AEW's flagship show Dynamite has consistently ranked high on Wednesday nights, and WBD expects Collision to perform the same. Sources told the publication that they do expect ratings to be down in the fall when college football starts airing in. In that scenario, WBD is hoping for a top 5 rating. I do know this past weekend, Collision hit 550,000 viewers, which was pretty significantly up from the show the previous week, and they finished top 5 on cable. So by that, we are to assume they're happy with that number. So there you go.
You know what? Here's the thing, guys. It's just a question. We're about to tie it up because I got to run. What if Collision was on Wednesday and Dynamite was in this slot? Do you think it'll perform the same?
I think it is too early to tell.
Yeah.
Like one thing that
I don't know.
This is still only 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like we as good as that show is, and I am excited for Dynamite this week. I am excited for Collision. I'm more excited for Collision this week than I am for Dynamite. But as good as Collision has been, it's still a new IP. Right? Like when SmackDown first started and SmackDown was on UPN, they weren't getting Raw numbers.
They was getting numbers for me, though.
And every other black neighborhood. They had to grow. They had to grow it. Just now, the last couple of years, has SmackDown been getting better ratings than Raw, and that's because, of course, they're on, Fox, which is network TV. But yeah, I think that's something to look at. Maybe like let's look at that after All In and All Out. That's going to get you a really good barometer because that's right before college football starts back in September, and now they've had a couple months under their belts.
But no, I think that Dynamite wouldn't do as well as Collision in the same time slot.
No, whatever you put on Saturday is not going to do as strong as something you do on Wednesday.
No. I mean that. So if Collision can get you maybe 500,000, right? Because Punk's doing it, I think that the Dynamite cast would do 400,000.
Oh, okay. I got what you're saying. So you're saying flip the wrestlers.
Yes.
Everybody that's on Collision, put them on Dynamite. Everybody that's on Dynamite, put them on. No, I bet you it's the same number. I don't think. I bet you it's the same.
You don't think Punk is kind of bringing some extra views on that show? That's what they're hoping for.
I think it's the same numbers. Like I think Dynamite still gets their 800,000, 850, whatever they're getting, and I think that Collision because Collision is a damn good show. I can't see anybody not liking Collision. And if they're only getting 550 to me, then okay, right now, like that's the cap until they start building or whatever they end up doing. And I think they've shown that they've kind of capped also at Dynamite. And that's not including DVR numbers. There was a report that came out last week. Sorry if we're boring anybody with like the business part. We're about to wrap though. They were talking about there is significant increases when they put the DVR numbers in the next 2 days or so. Like the first Collision, I want to say did like 953,000 viewers in the first 24 hours or something like that. They added like another 60, 70,000 views to like episode 2 or episode 3. So
makes sense.
There's something to that as well. And it was the same thing with Dynamite. I think Dynamite hit over 1 million either last week or 2 weeks ago when you take into account DVR numbers. So there you go. Anything else you guys got before we wrap it up?
Just something super quick. About a week ago, you and Matt brought up a question about Finn Balor's finisher.
About a week ago. Yes, they did it again last night.
So
since when is the coup de grace known as the coup de grace?
So I was trending on the right way as far as my answer to you last week. It is a French word. The proper pronunciation of it is the coup de grace. The reason why it's pronounced coup de grace is because a lot of Americans think that they're pronouncing it the French way by dropping this sound, just like how we don't say the P in coup. But then there's some linguist that says it's just like how we say the action word of helping, but we a lot of times just say helping or chilling. And actually the word is chilling. So it means the same thing, but ultimately the proper pronunciation of it is the coup de grace.
I'll be damned. So they've been saying it wrong for years, and nobody from the French bothered telling WWE that's not how we say it.
But maybe they felt like us, like if I'm chilling, maxing and relaxing, and then you're not doing the G on the end of it. If someone comes in from Europe and say, hey, I'm chilling, I'm like, oh, that's cool. They know our slang. I'm not going to say, hey, no, the proper way of how you pronounce that word is chilling or helping.
No, I'm with you though. Like it's like you've been doing it wrong this long. Like I'll just keep standing on it. Right?
That's crazy talk.
Hey,
that's crazy.
Coup de grace. Coup de grace, the final blow.
And y'all know I love everybody in this world, but Kevin Patrick,
you don't like him for some reason.
It's not working.
Oh.
Corey Graves said last night, like, I need some help. I'm sure you guys didn't hear it. He said something to that effect. And that's not the first time he's made a comment about like, I'm out here on my own or something to that effect. Even Corey's getting fed up. But
yeah, I mean, you know what? I watched Raw. I thought the same thing. I'm like, I don't like this guy.
Man's rough, and it hasn't really gotten better. It's nothing. He's not bad. He's just not good.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's just not. Yeah.
Yep.
See, and I never ever said like, okay, I don't like him or I can't stand him. I dislike, and I'm so sorry, I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud. I dislike Booker T more than I dislike him.
Oh man, no.
I can't stand Booker T.
No bread, just meat. That's the perfect way to just end this thing, right? Episode 47 is now in the books. Eshaun, go attend back to your family, my good man. Rhodesia, I'll see you in like 15 seconds.
All right.
Thank you guys for listening. Peace.